So I decided to look into this and understand what is this thing called life and why we do, why we feel and what we can do. And I started to go down to a few rabbit holes as we do. And I found this guy called Professor Bruce Lipton. Now, Bruce Lipton is a stem cell scientist. He's a very well-known stem cell scientist that he's wrote a book called The Biology of Belief. And he talks about whatever the belief factor is, i.e. what we think and feel, determines the biological outcome of our body, i.e. what we become, which is actually the seed of manifestation that everyone talks about nowadays. So I really got into Bruce Lipton and I thought, actually, this is huge. And at school, I wasn't interested in biology, well, until I got the age of understanding girls, of course, but I wasn't interested in that kind of stuff. Or a history, that just wasn't on my game at all. But when I understood, actually, for the first time in my life, mind and body is all as one, because in the West, we tend to think of it separate. We tend to think of mind, body as separate, and our mind, spirit and soul is a kind of thing that religion's hijacked, and the body, the mechanical, physical, is where we go to the NHS for. But I got to realise, no, the mind and body, soul and spirit is all one. It's the one thing altogether. So I then started to research other minds, people like Tesla. I don't mean the cars, I mean, proper Tesla. And then Einstein, Milton Erickson, and Mike Mandel. And these great minds, I started to research, what is this thing we call us? What is this thing we call life? How do we create a reality of life based upon who we are? I learned so much. I learned that actually what life is just how we perceive it. Anyway, I wanted to answer those three questions, which is just to remind ourselves, why do we do the things we do? Why do we feel the way we feel? And what can we do to be who we want to be for ourselves and our loved ones? And I found the answer. I found the answer to those three things. And don't worry, I don't go religious at this point, but I found the answer and I saw the light. I realised what's really going on. Okay. So during that period of learning, I was also doing a lot of research, and I started thinking to myself, do you know what? I never want to be in this dark place again where I was. So I need to make sure I record what I'm now learning. I need to do something about it. So I decided to write my book. I decided to write this, Quick Wake Up the Pilot. And what Wake Up the Pilot is all my learnings about why we do, why we feel, and what we can do to be who we want to be. At the same time, I was working with the Swiss School of Business Research, who were helping me with all the research materials and identifying all of these. They deemed my work worthy of a PhD, so I qualified and I created a thesis for my work, and that's when I got a PhD. Now I was 57 then, so I did what I call a control delete on life. I went doof, doof, bang. It doesn't matter what age you are. I was 50 at the Robin moment. At 50 years old was when I unconsciously went doof, doof, bang, reset it. Start all over again. So I got to a point when at the age of kind of 50 was the Robin moment. And then over those next few years, it was about being like Bob the Builder, getting myself back together and thinking, how can I move forwards? Because I never want to go back to that place, right? I did a lot of reflecting when I was doing the work, and I didn't want to go back to the place of, in that dark corner and not appreciating the here and now. While I was working and doing the machinery and stuff like that, I was starting to think, what can we do? And I studied those great minds that I mentioned just now. And it started to make me realise that actually, it's not only me that doesn't want to go back to that dark place. What about all these other people in business, all these other CEOs, entrepreneurs, small business owners, and people, no one deserves to go in that dark place. And they don't have to if they change their perception of how they're looking at things. Because that's all the Robin did for me. He changed my perception. Instead of looking into that dark corner, I just looked around and saw things completely differently. And that's what I realised, that life actually is about perception. It's about how we see it. It's actually how we perceive it,
really
and how
is.
we feel it.
And very often we've got like this perception that we've got to have the latest, the new car, the bigger house, the next holiday. And it's like, and I think I said to you, like when we first met, it's amazing how many people actually go on holiday, and while they're on holiday, they don't even realise they're on holiday.
What will we go next?
And they're looking at the holiday brochure for where they go next. They've got no appreciation of what they're actually surrounded themselves by.
If they're on that ride, what's next?
Right. Yeah. And earlier on I said to you, I'm going to talk about this later on, and here's the now. Because what I was doing back then, which I didn't know I was doing, I now give a name to. Right, and by giving it a name gives it a huge amount of awareness. And this is what I show people, how to avoid that dark place. Right, back then I was living in a place I now call deferred happiness. Right, and what deferred happiness is all about is when we're always chasing tomorrow, We're deferring our happiness for the future, right? Because we're saying, well, I'll be happy when. And I'm sure that we can hear other people say those phrases. And when you hear people say those phrases, they are living in deferred happiness. I'll be happy when I'm on the next holiday. I'll be happy when I get a new car. I'll be happy when I get a new job. I'll be happy when I'm doing something else. And all the time, our brain is reacting to I'll be happy when. We have to think, although of course we're emotional, physical bodies and minds, we have to think of ourselves like a computer, like a program. And we constantly run programs all the time. In today's world, we call them values, beliefs, and habits, right? But these are things that are happening all the time that take us to who and what we are and what we become and our outcome and our personality. All that stuff is all driven by values, beliefs, and what we really feel inside and emotions. But if we've got a program which is telling our brain, I'll be happy when, we have to remember that most people are unaware of what their unconscious mind is thinking or the decisions that it makes 95% of the time. 95% of the time. So whatever values, beliefs and habits that we have within us, which are normally unconscious, we're not aware of them because we've been programmed with them over time from either traumatic events or what we see as the right thing to do by our family and our loved ones or people in authority and rules and regulations of society. This all gets programmed into us as our values and beliefs, right? That's why cultures in different countries are so different, because we've all got different programming. Right? That's why we have different values, different beliefs, different cultures. Right? And we are hardwired as a species to be a tribal species. Now, we're not a leopard that goes out solo. We are a tribal species. We need to be with like-minded people to live together, love together, like together, be together, support each other.